One of the crops in Canada that is looking to go a little bit more mainstream is hemp. It's been around for a while, but the opportunities continue to grow. Joining us right now to discuss about all of the opportunities in the Canadian hemp sector is Ted Haney. He's Executive Director of the Canadian Hemp Trade Alliance. Ted, how's it going?
Very well, thank you.
And I should disclose, also my cousin. So there is that as well, Ted.
Well, we have to, bear crosses in life, so.
We can't get everything that we want. Okay. Hey,
that's right.
Ted, in your last press release from the CHTA, it talked about how hemp is becoming more mainstream and is truly a national crop. At this point, what's driving the opportunity for hemp?
For hemp, it's been all about food to take us where we are today, and that's really the hemp seed. It's sales of hemp hearts, the dehulled seed, after crush, oil, and protein. Those three products have been the core of what we are and will continue to be very, very important to the growth of the sector going forward. But there is new interest in three other areas that are undeveloped, that will represent revenue streams to the industry and take us to where we think we're going. And that is registration of hemp as a livestock feed product. Today, hemp is not allowed for use as a livestock feed in Canada. Fiber, there has not been the capital investments in fiber separation plants or decortication plants to create that raw fiber that then the value adders can turn into a million different products. And on and we're just moving down the road of fractions or the sale of the leafy materials from hemp to licensed marijuana producers for the extraction of CBD and then sale of that product through the medical marijuana and the provincially licensed retail outlets. So those last three revenue streams are all set to go, but it's food that's taken us to where we are today, and it's food that will still support and be the base of where we're going. So
is the legalization of marijuana in Canada, is that creating more opportunity then? It's one of those product types, but is it also a hindrance because in some ways hemp is so tied to marijuana and in some cases not in a fair way?
Well, in 1938, when the prohibition on production took place, they used a broad swath. They banned the production of high THC marijuana, but at the same time just simply banned the production of industrial hemp. And so we lost, 80 years of crop development, of product development, of genetic development, of expertise, of momentum, gone for all of those years. Never should have happened. Didn't make sense. Not the same phenotype in the cultivars that produce industrial hemp. There's virtually no THC in the industrial hemp plant. So right from the beginning, we were tied together. Today, it's a mixed blessing. It is the industrial hemp regulation underneath the previous Controlled Drug and Substances Act, and it's the industrial hemp regulations under the new Cannabis Act that allow for licenses for production, licenses for processing, for transportation and sale and export. So all of that is still tied, but it does appear to be an excessively regulated agricultural crop because of its continued tie to the marijuana sector, which is one of the things the hemp industry wants to put right. Let's apply some common sense, move the regulation of the national hemp crop to Agriculture Canada as an agricultural crop and allow all that great work that happens with agricultural crops to occur and allow us to move along our development line.
And right now you currently have an application for the Promotion and Research Agency application. Can you tell us a little bit about that and in your desire to create a checkoff organization to fund some of this development and research that needs to happen?
Sure. The Canadian Hemp Trade Alliance cooperates with the Canadian hemp producers. It's a Canadian Hemp Producer Committee associated with CHTA. It is the hemp producers that are applying for their Promotion and Research Agency through the Farm Products Council of Canada. It will create an agency that will allow the collection of checkoff for all hemp-related products moving off farm, interprovincial sales, export sales, in-time import sales, and as well in provinces that support it, to allow the collection of levies for sales within a province. So the hemp producers understand they want to be better partners financially in the development of their industry. To do that, they need the funds that can be generated reliably through a checkoff. That in turn goes right to promotion of the product, education of consumers and the large-scale food processors, in addition to research at the cultivar level, at the harvest and post-harvest storage. It allows for research in product confirmation. It even allows for potentially the research that will back up our coming registration for livestock feed. So really at every level, there has to be a private sector component available for funding, and the PRA is how the hemp producers in Canada intend to be a full partner.
And as crops try to go more and more mainstream and become more on the conscious of growers at planting and seeding decision-making time, there's like this chicken and egg, right? It's like you need to have volume in order to justify investment in processing, and then you have to have that processing capacity to have some sort of volume to get into the given markets that you're trying to access. How is the hemp industry in Canada doing right now to match up those things so that farmers don't go all in and then they've got hemp in their bins for the next 5 years?
Right. One of the historical issues with the hemp crop has been an exuberance of optimism leading to massive yearly increase in acreage planted, large production, and then followed by not having the capacity necessarily to process it at home, or in 2016, as an example, the loss of a major export market, that was South Korea. Leading to inventory issues. Well, one of the things as a stopgap or an insurance mechanism is producers would like to have access to the feed market. The feed market is not the number one market, but in all grains and oilseeds, the feed market does provide a valuable outlet for product that doesn't meet the specifications for food, or in inventory product that they can't move to their primary food market. So the feed sector is definitely part of that. On the processing side, the industry has done a great job in building capacity across Western Canada, from Vancouver to Winnipeg. But they've done a good job in developing hemp hearts, hemp oil, and hemp protein product that have got retail penetration and to some degree food service penetration. But the next big area of growth is as a food ingredient in large-scale manufacturing. So in addition to a consumer picking up one more bag of hemp hearts and bringing it home to use in their daily life, also taking large volumes of hemp protein and hemp oil and hemp hearts into the food manufacturing world. For that, we've realized that there's a couple of things that are required. One is the establishment of the generally regarded as safe status granted by the Food and Drug Administration in the U.S. Without that, many large-scale processors simply aren't interested in incorporating a food ingredient that doesn't have GRAS status. We're underway in that. It's a long process, but there's great support, particularly from one of the large processors in Canada. And that will be very helpful to opening up that new door. The other one is hemp protein is a high-quality protein based on its amino acid assay. It's a very balanced protein. There's a lot of health attributes that you can connect to it. But yet today, we cannot put the word good source of protein or excellent source of protein on any of those products because we haven't gone through the Health Canada and CFIA process of documenting that protein availability. So that's another one we've identified. It's one of the projects that are ready to go when we have the funds to proceed. That will again allow for strong claims on label and inclusion in large-scale processing. So those are pulls that are definitely going to work in our favor. And because we are a significant exporting industry, some 75% of hemp production, food production, is exported. We need to do better work and more work on promotion, market development, and market access for our products internationally. So that work is also set to go. Really will be the fuel in that engine will be funds flowing from the Canadian Hemp Producers PRA.
So from a production standpoint, how does Canada rank globally in terms of hemp production? Are we just getting started, or are we near the top already? Like, I have no real context of that. Where do we sit?
Well, the last data that's available on acreage in Canada and most other markets is 2017. And in 2017, Canada had 138,000 acres of hemp in planted or licensed for planting. That would put us into, unofficially, that would put us into a strong second place. Officially, though, it puts us into first place in the world. In the same 2017 year, Europe was at just over 100,000 acres. The United States was just over 25,000 acres, and the rest of the world at 46,000 acres. So total about 320,000 acres worldwide, with Canada having 138,000. That's the official records. China is underestimated. We believe that China has got it somewhere between 250,000 and 400,000 acres of hemp actually seeded in the ground. And so that would put them into a strong leading first place position, primarily for the production of hemp fiber and that primarily feeding their textile sector. So when you take a look at it, Canada is a good, solid second position in the world. We have an absolute leadership position in the production and sale of food products. Europe and their 100,000 acres have been focused generally on fiber and more recently on the extraction of CBD. The European automotive sector has really committed to the use of hemp-based molded panels in the construction of their vehicles. Some 30 pounds of hemp-based panels are in every car produced in Germany, for example, as reported by the European Hemp Industry Agency. So we're behind on that front. For fiber value added to take place, to really make that revenue stream come alive, we need additional fiber separation or decortication capacity. And with that, there has to be a critical mass of hemp acres year to year in and year out, every year, available to those fiber processing plants. And we are nearing, I believe, a critical mass to allow that to happen. There are two very significant large-scale hemp fiber processing plant projects that are being pursued, as well as some smaller ones that are also being pursued. So I think we will see, because of the critical mass that we're arriving at already, going to see revenue streams from what today is a disposal problem. And what do you do with hemp stalks after harvest?
Hey, Ted, this has been awesome to explore what's going on in the Canadian hemp industry and the opportunity that is in front of us. And, some of the challenges as well that obviously your organization is working on. We really appreciate you joining us here today.
My pleasure. Look forward to the next conversations as we move toward the great extraction of CBD under the control of hemp farmers and hemp processors. That's going to be a wonderful emerging story as we move forward.
There you go. That is Ted Haney. He's the Executive Director of the Canadian Hemp Trade Alliance.